Hi everyone, again I'm Darryl Knopp. Welcome back to my LinkedIn Live series where I focus on the 11 commandments of digital banking. As I said, I'm Darryl Knopp. I'm Senior Director, Portfolio Marketing at FICO, and I'm here hosting live from FICO World. We'll let Nikhil in a minute talk a little bit about FICO World, but today my guest is Nikhil Behl. He's my boss and the Chief Marketing Officer for FICO. I'm thrilled to have him here, and he made me have him here, to discuss the 11 commandments of digital banking, and more importantly, the last one, which is it comes together like a symphony orchestra. Before we kick off, Nikhil, I'd love you to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Darryl. But before we begin, congratulations on this series. It's been fantastic to watch you go through this journey. All the different interviews that you've done, the 11 commandments are fantastic. And yes, I forced my way on here because how could you end this series without me at least participating to some extent? As you said, I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at FICO. I'm responsible for our marketing, I guess. We are here live at FICO World, which is our big sort of customer conference. We've got a few thousand customers here from all over the world, almost 40 different countries. More than half of them are actually senior executives, senior vice president and above. They're all decision makers in their institutions. Financial institutions for the most part, across banking, across insurance, across vehicle finance, telco finance, etc. And it has just been fantastic to see so many of our customers come back to FICO World after a 36-month hiatus, with the pandemic and all that we were going through. And so many new folks that are starting their journey with FICO, and hope to see them here for many more FICO Worlds to come. Fascinating conversations, lots of learning happening for us, lots of learning happening for our customers, and lots of learning happening for them from each other. So it's been a really fascinating process, and I'm super excited for the rest of the week.
Oh, thank you. No, it's been great so far. We're halfway through. So let me just quickly recap the 11 commandments of digital banking. We discussed the importance of banks rebuilding their infrastructure, creating personalized experiences, respecting and valuing customers' data and time, keeping customers safe and secure in the process. The best digital transformations happen when data, systems, and process all work together, right? And all work together like a symphony orchestra in this digital experience. We'll talk more about the symphony orchestra concept, but first what are you hearing about some of the folks at FICO World? What are they saying?
Folks are super excited about what's happening in the market right now, right? There's a real focus on customer centricity, and there's a real focus on not just understanding your customers from a 360-degree view of that customer, but actually building intelligence into it so that you're taking robust next best action based off of what you're learning about that customer, surprising and delighting that customer. The reality is the landscape has changed. The Amazons of the world, for example, have reset expectations for consumers in terms of what they should expect to hear, to experience from anybody that is interacting with them or engaging with them in a relationship. They're looking for a relationship that is meaningful, a relationship where you actually know who they are, a relationship where you are predicting what they need, and a relationship that is proactively providing that service to them, even before a customer can imagine or even have the thought of what they might need next. In order to do that, you have to have intelligence built into your systems. And you talked about the symphony, right? You talked about data, processes, and systems and processes. All three of those things have to come together in order to create a meaningful experience, to have that true customer centricity for a customer out there. If any of those things get left out, you really can't do it, right? So data that an institution might have themselves, data that they might bring from somebody else, you've got to take all of that data. You need to understand what that data is. You have to understand the metadata that's inside of that. Then you've got to apply sophisticated analytics to it. You've got to convert those sophisticated analytics into insights, and then you've got to convert those insights into decisions that you can take action on. And then when you take that action, you are orchestrating that outcome for that consumer, and you're orchestrating an outcome for them, for the institution as well. That is par for the course at this point in time, right? Most people understand today, digital transformation is no longer a choice. We are in a digital-first world. And in a digital-first world, you are engaging with your consumers in that manner. And your consumers are demanding from you that you do that in a way that surprises and delights them, and in a way that they're expecting and seeing from just about every other walk of life or every other relationship that they have online.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. We talk a lot at FICO about data insights, actions, and outcomes, and that flow and what's important there. I want to talk a little bit more about this idea of being human and personal, and how does a financial institution, which is inherently a for-profit organization that most people think of as impersonal, become more human?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, the thing is that financial institutions are frankly anybody else, right? It is no longer a choice. Can I be human? Should I be human? Is there a dichotomy between being human and being a for-profit enterprise? The reality is, for-profit enterprises that are more human, that engage with their consumers a lot more than they don't, actually see outsized financial rewards associated with them. So this is no longer a dichotomy. If you want to be financially successful, it is imperative that you be more human. And you do that in many different ways. So the customer centricity we were talking about is one of those ways, right? Where you have to understand what your consumer, what your customer is looking for. You have to understand your customer a lot better. You have to be on the journey with them as you go through that process. So once you start a journey with a consumer, you understand that consumer, you are seeing patterns developing with that consumer, you have to start thinking about what's that offering need to look like next. From a financial services perspective, it could be as simple as you've got somebody with a checking account, or you've got somebody with a credit card that's open and that they're using. Through that process, you suddenly see that now they're buying diapers and they're buying nursery items. That automatically should tell you that they've just had a life event. And there are things that can happen with a life event. For example, you might need a bigger home, or you might need your first home, or you might need to go out and buy a minivan because you only had a roadster, right? And in that type of world, if you can proactively reach out to that consumer with a pre-approved offer for a mortgage or for an auto loan or for something like that, you are going to surprise and delight that customer. And you already know that customer. You have all this information about that customer. You are better positioned to proactively do that than anybody else. And you should be able to provide an offer that is acceptable and or even preferential to them. And we've had some Jane, we created an archetype called Jane at FICO World that we're showing, and the day of the life of Jane. And we bring that to life with a lot of those Jane videos on how some of this stuff actually works.
Yeah, I love those key moments. And I love the way you put that in the sense that you've got to have a human involved to kind of understand, okay, these are diapers.
Yes.
And you've got to have a human kind of identify, well, what would the things be that you would do from that?
Yes.
But then you take that human logic, bring in AI, and all of a sudden, great things can start to happen. So
absolutely.
Let's talk.
Bringing together those things, fusing that together, that's where the magic actually happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about personalization for a moment. So one of the things that, when we get all of this data to use it for good, is we can create very personalized customer interaction. What does that actually mean to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I referenced that Jane archetype that we have in place, right? So with Jane, we're really going through the day in the life of an experience. So she wakes up in the morning, it's a Saturday morning, and she figures out, okay, what's my day going to look like, right? I need to go out and buy a gift for my mom. I'm going to go have lunch with a friend. I just got a new car, or I need to go get a new car, and I might need a financing offer associated with that. And then I might need to get car insurance for the new car that I'm going to get. And so we go through those vignettes through the day with Jane, and we bring to life how this happens. So for example, Jane walks out of her home, and she's walking down the street, and all of a sudden her banking app notices that she's out and about, and she's just passed a Starbucks, and they know because she had previously applied for a car loan that she's in the market for a new car. And so the analytics on the back end quickly realize that, hey, if we were to offer Jane a coupon or a discount or a personalized offer from a loyalty perspective, that it would increase her propensity to go with that car loan by almost 28%. And they also realize that the value of the offer based on FICO analytics is something in the range of $3 or $4 or so, right? So a $4 investment in a person could increase your propensity to close a car loan by 28%. That's a pretty incredible return, right? And you very quickly go through the credit card transactions that are associated with Jane, and you're able to tell that the types of things that she likes to do that are low value purchases in the $3 or $4 range is a Starbucks coffee. And so you connect out to a Starbucks API through FICO platform, and you're able to very quickly identify a Starbucks that's close by, and you you activate proactively a message through the banking app to Jane on her phone that says that as a reward for her loyalty to being a banking customer with them, you're giving her $3.20 of credit at Starbucks. And you show her where the next closest Starbucks is in the direction that she's walking. And so she can walk into Starbucks, she purchases a coffee, puts it on her credit card, and on the back end, the financial institution, the bank, automatically applies the credit associated with that. Now that is a personalized experience. And so you go through the day on these Jane vignettes, and we're bringing to life how this is actually happening and how this personalization actually works to be delivered in a really meaningful, constructive, substantive, human, personalized experience, which is a win for Jane, and it is a win for the financial institution.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, loyalty programs have been around for a long time, but I think where it's really been missing is harmonizing or getting that use of all that loyalty data to actually get them to engage with the bank in a new way, start to understand what that next product or next experience should be for Jane. It doesn't have to be a product. It might just be engagement, Absolutely. It might be answering questions. And so I find that fascinating. So I think...
Darryl, if I may just add one other thing to it, So Will Lansing, who's our CEO, he talks about sort of next generation CRM, right? And this is actually next generation CRM. CRM is, often considered with, hey, let me get a 360-degree view of my customer. Let me understand what my customer actually looks like from a 360-degree perspective, right? But when you take action off of that knowledge, off of that understanding, like in this case, where you offered a personalized offer for $3.20 for a coffee, and you know that would increase the propensity for Jane to now pick up a car loan by 28%, that is taking action to drive an outcome. That is proactive CRM. Right? That is next generation CRM. Now we're talking about something that used to be passive, and we're making it active.
No, that's an excellent point, because I think many of us that have been in banking a long time, which I have this narrow view of what CRM is, and it isn't that thing that it used to be. It's not just noting down what sales discussion might have been had. It's literally taking all of this very robust data, generating value for the customer on that data. So making, people, one of the surveys I've seen recently was people are quite happy to share their data if they're going to get value from it. And I think we're seeing that with open banking, and that's taken off in some countries, where people are giving permission to access that data and then getting great value from it. One of the things, for financial institutions have to continue to be innovative. What do we at FICO advise clients to focus on mostly when they're doing digital transformation for their businesses?
Well, you used the word Symphony earlier as your 11th commandment, and I think that is such a beautiful word and such a fabulous way of really encapsulating what we're talking about here. For FICO, our differentiator at the end of the day is there's a lot of people who do data well. There's a lot of people who do analytics well. There's a lot of people that do decisions well. There's a lot of people who do next best action really well. But there's almost nobody that connects all of that together and gives a common platform for the different personas in an institution, whether it's IT or it's data science or it's a business person or it's a finance person, to all work in a singular environment to construct an experience for their customers, right? It's that bringing together of the data, it's the bringing together of the systems, it's the bringing together of the processes to make magic happen. And where this really becomes phenomenal is when you fuse, as you said earlier, the human expertise and logic with the artificial intelligence, with the prescriptive analytics, with the predictive analytics, with the advanced analytics to drive an outcome. That's really when it's magic, and that's what we're all about.
No, I mean, that's fantastic. I love how these commandments kind of came together, and then as we started to think through the platform and what we're doing, what's the secret sauce at FICO, it really is pulling it all together like a symphony orchestra. Well, thanks so much for joining me today, Nikhil. Thanks for supporting my LinkedIn Live series. This is a wrap-up of the 11 Commandments of Digital Banking. I will be back with another series. Stay tuned for that.
I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. For more information on the LinkedIn Live series, for the ebook for 11 Commandments of Digital Banking, for various blogs, the links are kind of below. You can also access the Digital Jane videos below. And so, Nikhil, thank you so much for joining us today. Let's enjoy the rest of FICO World.
Fantastic, Darryl. Thanks so much for having me, man. Awesome.
Thank you.
Cheers.